Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 588 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. As always, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, you are very, very welcome. And we have some comments. Alex is here saying, wow, a new Aramis. Yes, actually, surprise, surprise. Rita's here too, saying, evening everyone. Karen says, here we go. And Elias says, uh-oh, you know me so well, Elias. I liked Calligraphy Rose by Aramis, says Alex. Yes, that was an interesting phase they went through. I'm sure I reviewed all of those on the website. Anyway, this is the second of 2 live videos that we're planning for today, so thanks for sticking around. But if you're watching the recording, you're very welcome too, and feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. If you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below, as well as a link to my Substack. And if you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. Okay. Carl says, I like that you do live on Mondays now. That's my day off, so that means I can catch them. Hello from Montreal. Well, you know, there isn't never a set day for me, and actually Mondays tend to be quite bad for me, but I couldn't do yesterday and I could do today, so I thought, well, let's mix things up a little bit and do a Monday. I mean, it's probably mostly going to be at the weekend, but having said that, I will bear that in mind and remember that for some people Mondays are good. Next week, fingers crossed, we've got an interview for you on the Tuesday, but I will let you know about that a little bit closer to the time when it's definitely 100% confirmed. But if it happens, it'll be a good one. I'm sure it'll be a good one. Anyway, why these two? Because I think it's important to keep this a fairly broad church, and I do keep going on quite often, I think, about think of the wording. Let's just keep it neutral for the moment. About the state of mainstream masculine and feminine releases, and sometimes it's good to have a kind of a recalibration moment where you really have a concrete example to smell and to talk about in relation to some of these issues that I raise. So basically what I'm saying is sometimes it's good to be able to say, okay, you know, when I lament the current state of masculine perfumes, what I'm referring to is, for example, something like Prada Paradigme, and there's a sneak preview for you. In the past, I think I used to say Versace Eros a lot, didn't I? Because that was painful. And there have been a few other ones over the years. So yes, in the interests of fairness, in the interests of trying to, you know, show that, and certainly to show that we don't just do positive reviews. And I also thought it would be interesting to compare the two, because they're not exactly at the same level. So, Alex says, we talk so often about nice perfume, sometimes it's interesting to look at the different ones, says Alex. Yeah, I know what you mean. Now, Paradigme is just so worth talking about on so many different levels, but I think maybe we should start by just smelling it. This is new from Prada. I suppose one reason why they decided to call it Paradigme is because they have the feminine release called Paradox, and they thought, ooh, let's kind of go for another one with a vaguely similar name. This is credited to Marie Salamagne, Bruno Jovanovic, and Nicolas Bonneville. The advertising for it, as I'm sure a lot of you will know, that is headed by Spider-Man. Tom Holland. Tom Holland? Yes. Tom Holland. And yes, a green bottle. Paradigme spelt, I don't know, in the Italian way, because it is, although I think, is it sometimes acceptable to spell it with an E on the end in English? I don't know. I've never spelt it with an E, and it is a word that, of course, I use every single day in casual conversation. What is it about that awful kind of grapefruit thing and pineapple, the grapefruit and pineapple thing that everyone... Oh, goodness me, send help. See, I'm going with Tom Holland for the moment. I'm pretty sure it's Tom Holland. He seems like a nice enough guy, and I think actually, from what I've seen of him, he's a talented actor. He was in. Wasn't he in the film about the true story of the tsunami and how he got separated from his family? I think he's the little boy in that, isn't he? And he makes a very, very good Peter Parker. I think he makes... Oh, I need to keep this away from me because as I'm talking and breathing in, I'm actually tasting it as well, and this is not a Michelin-starred perfume. Ralph says it might be worse than Cool Water Elixir. That's another one. Good, thank you, yes. It's on a similar sort of level, but it's just doing that really, really cringy, scalp me now and throw me to the wolves, shrill citrus thing. There are dead lemons turning in their lemon graves, insulted by the fact that this perfume is being released in their name. And there are probably dead bergamots doing the same thing, and dead mandarins and tangerines. Alex says, isn't it horrible that there are people who want to smell like this? Is it as bad as Aventus? Well, I think it's an Aventus wannabe, that's for sure. But isn't it horrible that there are people who want to smell like this? I don't know. If somebody smells this and they enjoy something about it, then fine. You know that my bottom line is always wear what you enjoy. And if you respond to this in some way, and if you smell it and then you go searching for a review on YouTube and you find this dodgy looking bloke saying to you that he can't stand it, but you love it, just go with it. I mean, I think the same would apply to taste in music, taste in movies. But I'm just telling you that I think it's depressingly, cynically derivative. There are hundreds of other perfumes like this, and to think that Prada perfumes actually not that long ago were really quite interesting. Do you remember when they released Candy for women? Okay, but it was still an interesting piece of work. Luna Rossa, I never had a lot of time for, but I think it had a bit more class to it than this. What does it taste like? Says Karen. It tastes. It's a good question. It tastes like pine, and maybe that's the kind of pine element, because citrus oils have got, is it pinene? That they have a kind of pine facet to them. It tastes like you've just swallowed some cheap 1980s deodorant. It is really, really crass synthetic citrus. But the other thing that amused me about it, and I used that word incorrectly, was that the little press card that comes with it actually tells you how to pronounce the word paradigm. It's got a helpful kind of, in brackets, they've broken it down into R-U-H, dime, D-Y-M, noun. And this really, really pushed my buttons, because then they tell you what it means. But the last time I checked, this was not the meaning of paradigm. They say a new perspective, a new way of thinking, doing, being. And I think this sums up the real irony of this perfume, because I think what they're referring to there is a paradigm shift, which actually is a change in the established way of doing things, a change in the pattern, a change in what has come before. But a paradigm, the paradigm, is actually the pattern, the established way. So maybe they don't realise that basically what they have done is called this perfume pattern. Everything that has come before, they've basically called it cardboard cutout, because they've left out the concept of the paradigm shift. And that is hilarious on so many levels. Karen says, silly me, I've been saying paradigme. That's fine. You're fine. You can call it whatever you like. Paradigme is probably a better name for this. Can you spare me a paradigm? Oh, very good. I think, I mean, it's really, really classic, isn't it, that they call it that, and actually, for sure, the idea that they're going for is the idea of breaking a paradigm, or setting a new paradigm, or shifting the paradigm. Ilias says, wow, it's the example not to follow. That's what this fragrance is. Yeah, exactly. What do they say? Prada introduces new signature masculine fragrance, Prada Paradigme. Since 1913, Prada has been creating dialogue and questioning conventions, inviting creative experimentation to open new perspectives. Today, that story continues with Prada Paradigme, a fragrance that transcends traditional preconceptions by asking, what if there's another way? You haven't found it. Made with intention for those shaping their journey via exploration. Prada Paradigme examines the interplay between the inner self and the outer world, encapsulating a characteristically Prada tension. The result is an artful, ambery, woody signature that is complex in its simplicity, bold in its restraint, and imbued with the brand's signature avant-garde twist. You ready for the next sentence? Hold your breath. Some of you I know have got the popcorn out. Drum roll, please. An augmented anagram of Prada. So Paradigme is an augmented anagram of Prada. The name Paradigme continues the signature initiated by paradox, serving as an invitation to resist the constraints of conformity and embark upon an adventure of fine-spun shifts, exploring multiple ways of expressing one's identity. Oh, I do like the reactions I'm getting now. Epic reaction, Mr. P deserves an award, says Mila. At least it seems worth talking about, unlike the new Blur, says Carl. I've reviewed the Chanel Blur over on my Substack. Questioning convention. So I love. Can you imagine the marketing meeting when they went, wait, it's got a P, an R, and an A, and a D in it. We can say it's an anagram of Prada, but not just any anagram. It's an augmented anagram. It's an ognogram. I'm going to need them to define anagram for me while we're here, says EB. Oh, I know. Confidence is redefined as curiosity, strength as finesse, and success as the freedom to create one's paradigm. Oh, and they've got the pronunciation guide again. Staying true to Prada's commitment to unconstrained creativity, Paradigme is the work of myriad experiences, the culmination of a collaboration between three perfumers renowned for their craftsmanship. Marie Salamagne, Bruno Jovanovic, and Nicolas Bonville, born out of dynamic conversations and experimentations. Yeah, I bet it was. Sorry. Prada Paradigme redefines masculine perfumery through unexpected compositions. The layering of notes in a fragrance... Oh gosh, what have they got here? I haven't read this bit yet. The layering of notes in a fragrance is traditionally visualized as a pyramid, opening on top notes, followed by the heart, and finally the lingering base. In a symbolic echo of the iconic Prada triangle, Paradigme inverts this structure, tracing its composition from the bottom up in what is termed a reverse pyramid. Oh, you should have stopped at the augmented anagram. The result is an unexpected yet highly sophisticated fragrance that rethinks the traditional way to create a fragrance, finding new expression and possibility through an inverted architecture. Okay, well then I suppose I ought to do this. Happy now? From the first moment, Paradigme asserts its difference, opening a new olfactive paradigm of sophisticated avant-garde masculinity, oscillating between enveloping warmth and exhilarating freshness. As the reverse pyramid unfolds, oh, so the pyramid's unfolding now. At the ambery woody base, Peru balsam, benzoin resin, and guaiac wood bring a smoky resinous texture that is simultaneously vigorous, luminous, and addictive. This innate and heady sensuality lies in contrast with the fragrance heart, creating a surprising dialogue with a duo of geranium extracts, a green aromatic of energizing freshness, and an iconic code of masculine fragrances now reinvented with floral, rosy facets. Finally, this pulsing heart, alive with vibrant plant energy, encounters uplifting Calabrian bergamot, heart, and airy musks. Yes, pre-sprayed Paradigme. Avant-garde masculinity, if only, says Gnosis Beam. Is that why they needed three perfumers, says EB. And Rita says, I can't believe we don't have a third video as a palette cleanser. I know, actually, that's really terrible. I should have thought of that, you're right. But no, we haven't. Sorry, this is what we're leaving you with. Pre-sprayed Paradigme. Oh, gosh, it's actually... I felt my paradigm just shift a little bit there. Yeah, I think I might need to go and see a chiropractor. It's so painful. It's so painful. Tom Holland, please, please. rethink your endorsements. I bet he didn't even smell it before he signed on the dotted line. Yeah. Now, the Aramis is a bit different. It is better. The Aramis is worth trying because Aramis, of course, has always been an Estee Lauder brand, and it is still an Estee Lauder brand. So this is an Estee Lauder perfume. And Aramis, absolute classic of masculine perfumery, one of the finest leather sheep ever made. Probably a bit dated now, but I think it can still be worn really well. And the last time I smelt it, it was still in pretty good shape. Now this Aramis claims to actually have a bit of a nod to the original, and I would say that it kind of does. This is, compared to what we've just smelled, this is actually a masterpiece. And talk about palette cleanser. I mean, this is not going to be on rotation on my skin at Maison Persolaise, and it's not going to be getting anywhere near my list of the top 10 perfumes. But in comparison to the Paradigme, it is actually smoother, more convincing. I mean, it is still playing with those masculine cliches, but I think what I find interesting about it is that every now and then you get a ghost of the original Aramis coming through. That very, very dry, kind of old school masculine leatheriness coming through. And that's what makes this one definitely worth more of your time than Paradigme. And it's by Carlos Benaim. And he knows his classical perfumery, probably more than any other perfumer working at the moment. He particularly knows the Lauder brand extremely well. He will know his Aramis. He will know his stuff when it comes to Aramis, and he has to meet a certain brief, and he has to give his client Aramis Lauder a kind of fresh, invigorating, woody scent, and he has done that. But at least he has done it with a certain amount of style, a certain amount of panache. I mean, it's always those citrus notes that are so depressing at the beginning because they come across as just so false, just so fake. They feel as though they have not come anywhere near in contact with nature at all. And is it because citrus materials are expensive to use? Could they not have just done a little bit more mandarin just to kind of smooth it out a bit, to make it a little bit sweeter? But it is definitely better than Paradigme. Alex says, a faint memory of beautiful, long-gone days. I love this effect in perfumery. Did you put the Prada bottle upside down? Yes, well, it's invert. You have to. We should all be placing our bottles upside down because we need to inverse the pyramid, people. Power to the inverse. What do they say about it? Intuition. Interesting they've gone for the name, by the way, because, of course, there was a Lauder perfume called Intuition. There was an Intuition for men. I'm not sure if there ever was an Intuition for women, was there? But clearly that's gone, and so they hold the license that they've got the rights to that name, they can use it. Intuition is described as a woody, green neo-fougere inspired by a new kind of masculinity. Oh, please. If you're going to do that, then actually try and give us something genuinely new, which the brand says emphasizes emotional intelligence, oh, you're losing me now, and authenticity alongside traditional masculine traits. Discover Intuition by Aramis, the men's cologne inspired by the instinct inside. There's that paradigm shift again, people. The moment aspiration becomes action and excellence becomes second nature. Energizing, bold, magnetic. Ask yourself and listen. It's intuition. Not a bad tagline, I suppose. The crisp note of grapefruit, a rush of lavender, an earthy base of vetiver, all wrapped in the velvety seduction of Quirissima LXR, the exclusive Aramis leather essence. Okay, I wouldn't mind finding out a bit more about that. A woody green neo-fougere, this energizing men's cologne boosts feelings of energy with emotion-enhancing molecules. Fresh airy notes and an addictive leathery warmth mixed with notes of orris and patchouli, leaving a lasting trail. EB says there was a feminine intuition with a weird drop in a drop. Yes, that's right. There was an intuition for women. Yes, and actually, didn't that come back when they did the reissues in those standard bottles? Very, very quick smell of pre-sprayed intuition. It doesn't really get any better. It is, bottom line, it is a very, very predictable, very generic 2020s masculine. But there are levels, right? On one level, we have Prada Paradigme. Definitely on a bit of a higher level, we have Aramis Intuition. So I suppose we should be grateful for different levels. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you for the laughs. Stay tuned to social media for info about, new. I can't even speak because stay tuned to social media for details of new videos coming your way. And until then, make sure you shift your paradigm at least once a day. Your paradigm will thank you for it. Bye now.